Students, in this video, let us discuss a problem with regard to the implied conditions and the warranties. So, these implied conditions and warranties will be discussed under sections 11 to 17. That means under Sale of Goods Act of 1930, from sections 11 to 17, we can see the implied conditions and warranties. So, as you know that the Sale of Goods Act is concerning with regard to a contract of sale of goods, whereby the seller transfers or agrees to transfer the property in the goods to the buyer for a price or consideration. That means it is a contract of the sale of goods whereby the seller transfers or agrees to transfer the property in the goods to the buyer for a price. So this will be a cardinal principle for all the aspects concerning with regard to the Sale of Goods Act. Here, as you know that there should be two parties, buyer and seller, and subject matter of the contract is goods, and it is for the consideration. Without consideration, it will not become sale. And the main aspect you have to see is that the seller should transfer the property, that means the ownership in the goods to the buyer. If it does not transfer or agrees to transfer the ownership or the property in the goods to the buyer, then it will not become a sale. So this is a guiding principle. It is a cardinal principle for almost all the aspects under the Sale of Goods Act. So let us see one problem with regard to the implied conditions and warranties. Under Karnataka State Law University exams, there will be a question with regard to this unit, that is Sale of Goods Act. That is, as you know that there will be theory question will be there under 80-20 scheme, and the problem will be there. So here the problem will be normally it will be based on this implied conditions and warranties. So there are regular problems are there. If you follow that problems, definitely you can score good marks. So what is this implied condition? What is this warranty? So these aspects you know, that is here with regard to the implied conditions. So with regard to the every sale, what happens? With regard to the every sale, there will be some discussions within within some permitted limit between the buyer and seller. So with regard to the condition and warranty. So what is condition, what is warranty, which has been seen we can under section 12 class sub class 2 under 12 sub class 2 with regard to condition. That means condition here, this condition and warranty, they are both are concerning to the main principle of contract of sale, that is stipulation. So the stipulations in a contract of sale may be either a condition and warranty. Here, if there is no stipulation under this contract of sale, then what happens? Then the buyer has to take care. He should be very much beware of the goods. So that will be called as caveat emptor. We can deal subsequently with regard to that one. But with regard to stipulations, it will be normally will be there with regard to every contract of sale. That is the seller, he will describe certain the qualities in the goods and aspects. So all those things he will do. So with regard to these things, this condition warranty it will come, and the condition is the main what you call root of the contract. That means here we can say it is the main root of the contract. So here if any breach of such the what you call the condition which entitles the other party to reject the contract, so that can be called as condition. So whereas with regard to the warranty, here it may be collateral to the contract of sale and not of such vital importance as a condition. So that is the main difference between the condition and warranty. Here let us see one problem with regard to this condition and warranty. Here this is with regard to the selling of the car. This normally it will be given in the exams. Here the problem is like this. Here the plaintiff purchased a motor car from the defendants and used the same for several months. The defendant had no title to the car, and therefore the plaintiff was compelled to give it to a true owner. The plaintiff sued the defendant to recover back the price which he had already paid. Can he recover his price or the money what he has paid? So this is the problem which has been given in the previous exams. So one of the facts is that you can divide, you can simplify it like this way also. Here the plaintiff purchased a motor car from the defendant and used the same for several months. That one person has purchased the motor car from the defendant and he has used for certain months. So thereafter what happened? The defendant had no title to the car and therefore the plaintiff was compelled to give it to the true owner. That means the true owner of the car, he has come to notice of that the plaintiff has purchased the motor car that is in his possession. So he has claimed the car, that is it belongs to him. So in fact the defendant had no title over that car which has sold to the plaintiff. Here the plaintiff has already paid the money or the consideration to the defendant with regard to the purchasing the car. So when the true owner comes, he has taken his car, then the plaintiff has to part with that car. For that car he has paid some money to the defendant. So here the question is that whether the plaintiff can recover the price which has already paid to the defendant. Here what we have to see, the defendant he has got the defective title. That means he doesn't have a title over the car. He doesn't have the ownership over the car. Then how can he transfer the ownership or ownership in the goods? So passing of the property is very much important. So here issue is that whether a buyer can recover the price from a seller who does not have a valid title over the goods. And you can frame, as I have told you, you can frame one issue or more than one issue. Here whether seller can be exempted from liability who does not have a valid title. That means here a seller can be exempted from a liability who does not have a valid title when the goods used by a buyer for a considerable length of time. So here in this what we call issue, we can name one or more than one issue. So depending upon the facts, you can frame one issue or more than one issue. Here the issues are that whether a buyer can recover the price, that is consideration, from a seller who does not have a valid title over the goods. That is, the seller does not have the title over the goods. Title means he does not have the ownership over the goods. Then how can he transfer the goods? How can he transfer the property in the goods? So whether the buyer can recover the money what he has paid to a person who does not have the title over the goods at all. That is the first question. Second is whether a seller can be exempted from the liability. That means the seller has sold away the car, but whether here the buyer has used the car for a considerable length of time. So on that ground, whether a seller can be exempted from liability. So these are the two issues we can make out from this problem. Here the provision of law applicable here is, that is under section 14A of the Sale of Goods Act. That is under implied condition, that speaks with regard to the implied conditions. So with regard to this, the given problem, we can see the same facts in the case law of Rowland versus Diwan. So this case law is the same as with the facts which has been given in the instant problem. So this is the provision of law. So we have to simplify the facts. So even though if you don't simplify the facts, it does not make any difference. But it will be a complete answer will be there, and you have to frame the issues and the provision of law where we can come across this aspect. We have to write. Then we have to analyze it. So analysis will be a little bit lengthier, and we have to analyze all the facts, issue, and the provision of law under this analysis sections. As I told you, so under implied conditions, here with regard to the given problem, we can this section 14 to 17 it deals with regard to the implied conditions. Here certain aspects we can gather here. The parties are at liberty to include in their contract any number of express conditions and warranties. That means in the given what you call due course of their the sale transactions, the parties may what you call according to their convenience, their transactions, they can express any number of conditions and warranties. So that will be a part of the sale transactions. But in addition to the above express conditions and the warranties, that means what the parties, that is buyer and seller, what the conditions, warranties they used to make, besides that one, in addition to that one, the law which prescribes or implies into every sale of goods a number of conditions and warranties. That means besides whatever the buyer and seller, they makes the condition and warranties with regard to any sale transactions. The law has prescribed certain the conditions and warranties. So they are read as part and parcel of every contract of sale unless they are explicitly excluded by the contracting parties. That is, whichever the law prescribes, that has to be read as the part and parcel. That is, part and parcel means it should be read along with it should be followed along with whatever the condition warranties, what the buyer and seller they used to make. So that is the very important thing with regard to the given problem. So these conditions and warranties are known as the implied condition and the warranties. So that can be called as the implied conditions and the warranties. That means here the parties, the buyer and seller, they may express their certain condition and warranties that will be expressed. But besides that one, the law prescribes certain conditions that will be implied. That is, that need not be that need not be what you call expressed. That is the common thing. The law which prescribes these are all the condition and warranties. That is whether the parties they aware or does not aware, there will be the implied conditions that those condition and warranties will be in every the sale transactions. So in order to what you call save the buyer, so the interest of the buyer is very much important. So the following are some of the implied conditions. The implied conditions is to title under section 14a. The buyer can generally presume or assume that the seller who is in a possession of the property has a valid title. That the buyer, that is the person who buys the goods, that is his normal intention. That we become the what you call innocent buyers. What we will do? We are not go in particular with regard to the in very detail whether the seller has got the title and all those things. We are not going to see. That is the common impression that the seller, he has got the valid title to sell the goods. That is the common impression where the buyer, he will be protected. So the law guards the interest of the buyer. So in the case of an agreement to sell, it is presumed that the seller will have a right to sell the goods at the time when the property passes from the seller to the buyer. That is, in agreement to sell, it is presumed. That means it is a presumption that the seller will have a right to sell the goods. That means that is a presumption that need not be what you call should be the questioned. So when the property passes from the seller to the buyer, if the seller's title turns out to be defective, then suppose the seller's title, that is ownership over the property, it turns out to be a defective. That means he is only having the possession. Then the buyer may reject the goods. That is what is the option left for the buyer is that he can reject the goods. So under section which reads like this, in a contract of sale, there is an implied condition on the part of the seller that in the case of a sale, he has a right to sell the goods. In the case of an agreement to sell, he will have a right to sell the goods at the time when the property is to pass. So the seller also is having a certain right with regard to the selling the goods. He has got the right to sell the goods. So what is the right to sell the goods? It shows that he has got the valid title. So he has got the right to sell, which normally goes with the ownership. That is he has got the right to transfer that property in favor of the buyer. So that we can see under section 14. So here what has happened, what the court has taken the stand with regard to the Rowland versus Diwal. Here a man, here the facts is that a man bought a car under the impression that the dealer is the owner of that car which is going to be sold. So on that impression he has purchased the car from the dealer. So after certain months, it has been come to the knowledge of the buyer that the dealer is not a true owner, it is a stolen one. And the same car has been seized by the police, and it has the true owner has taken the car in his possession. So here there is no option left for the buyer. He is the innocent buyer. He believes that the dealer has got the valid title. So what he has to do, he can sue for the consideration or the price what he has paid to the dealer. So here in the court has taken the consideration with regard to the section this aspect. That is this is the case law taken from the English case law. That is here in India also we are following the sale of goods of sale of goods act of the English sale of goods act. So here that is English sale of goods of act of 1893 has been followed in our India with the same the more or less same provisions we can see here. So here this is the English case law. Here the court has held that the buyer was entitled to recover the full price of the car from the seller. So that is the court which has taken the decision. Here what has happened, the right to sell has been carefully interpreted in the court. So here what has been interpreted in the court with regard to right to sell, if a person sells the goods by infringing the intellectual property like rights like trademark, patent or copyrights, so then the buyer is entitled to repudiate the contract on the ground that the seller has no right to sell them. That is, this is this aspect has been in the court of law, the aspect of the right to sell has been completely, it has been analyzed. But with regard to the today's what you call any transactions, today's affair, today's challenges, we can include that with regard to intellectual property also, that is with regard to trademark, patent or copyrights also. So here, if there is any infringement of the intellectual property rights like trademark or patent or copyright, then the buyer is entitled to cancel the contract or they repudiate the contract on the ground that the seller doesn't have a right to sell them. That means here the concept of right to sell has been questioned in the Rowland versus Diwal. But what I am saying, but with regard to the today's what you call the challenges, today's the new challenges, two new problems, we can include these aspects also concerning to the intellectual property. Here the option left to the buyer, he can repudiate, he can cancel the contract, and he can recover the price as the seller has no right to sell them. Okay, in the next video, we can look into the other problems concerning to the implied conditions and the warranties. So this is very much important with regard to the even examination point of view. This is with regard to theory question as well as with regard to the problematic question.